Hi, it's Mitch from Pickdawgz.com here with your free pick in the Seton Hall versus Georgia college basketball matchup on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. If you like all the free picks we do at Pickdawgz, you'll love our premium picks, our best bets. Use the discount code PICK for 15% off. We also have products meant for people who make big bets, people with big bankrolls looking for one-on-one concierge-style service. These aren't available on the website, but they're still easy to get. You just got to text the number you see on the screen. So if you make big bets like I do, go ahead and text that number. But let's get to this one. It's the NIT Final Four taking place at Hinkle Fieldhouse, at, of course, Butler's home court, and, of course, the place where they filmed Hoosiers. I always mention that whenever I say Hinkle Fieldhouse. Not all the time, but I say it a lot. So if you've watched my videos before and seen a Butler game, well, you've heard me talk about it and, maybe even throw in some of those Hoosier references, How tall is the basket? Same as our gym at Hickory. And I think both these teams need to take that approach in this game as well. It is a big game for them because for Seton Hall, this is a team that a lot of people felt were NCAA tournament quality. They play in the Big East. Of course, the Big East represented in the Final Four by UConn. They were in the Elite Eight and Sweet 16 and all that kind of other good stuff. Marquette and Creighton both went pretty deep into the tournament. But overall, the Big East didn't get a lot of bids to the NCAA tournament this year, which goes to show you that maybe playing in these really tough conferences isn't going to help you when it comes to making the NCAA tournament. We saw the ACC, the Big East really not get a lot of love, but really a lot of those teams well represented in that second weekend of games. And, they have been well represented that second weekend of games for a very long time, much longer runs than conferences like the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the SEC, who get a lot more ink than them. But the thing is we look at these two teams. Seton Hall certainly knows, their coach Holloway, certainly no stranger to the big game. He took St. Peter's, on that magical run a few years ago in the NCAA tournament. Of course, he is a Seton Hall alum. That's why he left St. Peter's for this job. Plus, also probably a lot better gig overall. But when we look at these two teams and we say, what have you done for me recently? And I think Georgia is really the surprise story here, kind of like the NC State of the NCAA tournament, because Georgia's Mike White, not a good coach. I mean, generally, fired at Florida 2 years ago, then hired at Georgia, and he's done nothing but really underachieve since then. But really, coming into this game, they have really knocked off some pretty good teams here. And I'll tell you, I bet against them in both of their recent games, and I lost money on both of them, taking Wake Forest and Ohio State in games that they were, 7, 8.5 point dogs, and won those games outright. When we look at, how Georgia's done it, they've shot the ball pretty well, 74.6 points per game, shooting about 43.1% from beyond the arc. And defensively, teams shooting about 28% from beyond the arc against them and 42.7% from the floor. So they have slightly better numbers defensively, and I mean slightly better than what we've seen from Seton Hall recently. But Seton Hall's offensive numbers are far better than what we've seen from Georgia. I just think, when push comes to shove in the big games, and I understand Georgia's had a great run, and maybe we could even give Mike White a tiny bit of credit for what they've been able to achieve in this tournament. But at the same time, Seton Hall, Holloway's just a way better coach. They play in a better conference against better competition. Tell you what, I say this on the live show, and I don't necessarily not a big proponent of we beat them and they can beat you and all that other stuff, but Seton Hall beat UConn this year. They sure as heck can beat Georgia. I'm going to take Seton Hall, and that's going to be my free pick. Of course, while you're doing your picks, putting your bets in, be sure to use our free betting tools at sportschatplace.com. 100% free, and they'll help put you on the most favorable bets on the board today.